Do you never watch Fish Addictions TV?
No.
So I'm a killer, Thor.
That's what I meant. I'm not. Jim and I have only kissed.
We all hope to have the bush at some point in our life, whether it's on the water or not.
Intense.
Like a goddamn circus fire.
And now, coming at you live from the Fish Addiction Studio, your hosts, Mike Olson and Thor Skoy, with Fish Addictions, The Real Talk.
Are we live?
We are live.
Guys, how's it going? This is Fish Addictions Real Talk. I'm Mike.
Thor, we've mostly met.
We like each other depending on the day.
Well, hopefully that day continues for the next week while we're out in Ohio.
Oh, man, we're going to Ohio tomorrow.
We are going to Ohio
That's
tomorrow
awesome.
in a
Land of the Giants. We've been talking about it. You know, it seems like this winter has been a lot of talking about things and things not working out. And this trip was almost the exact same thing.
Yep.
But we made it happen. Everybody's always like, Mike, how do you make a trip happen? Like, I got a buddy that's going out there, and he's like, I've been planning a year for this trip, and you plan it in 9 days.
Yeah. Well, and really, you planned it in 4 days, and then we moved it back another 5.
I don't know another way to do it. I mean, that's what we do here at Fish Addictions. We just go with the flow and do what we can do. And, you know, that's fishing. You know, we don't film things a year or so in advance. We're doing, you know, a lot of guys are filming stuff as they go, and a lot of things you see are here. And actually,
well, and I think that the guest that we have for tonight's podcast is
all about that.
Well, and not only that, but it's the most that we have pre-planned for something to happen.
I mean, I'll be honest. I spent a lot of time on the phone pre-planning with you because I was out fishing.
Right.
But yeah, no, absolutely.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think that this podcast is something that we have planned, like out of all the content that we put out in the last year, this is probably what we've planned for the most.
Well, not just the guest, but the fact, because we haven't brought anybody into the podcast yet. So we're bringing this special guest into our podcast for the first time. So bear with us if it doesn't go exactly smooth. I'm sure our guest will be just fine with it. He'll go with the flow because I'm sure that's what he's doing as well. So,
yep. I think it's time to bring him in, huh?
Yeah. Guys, welcome Jay Siemens. Jay, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me. I'm glad this worked out. I know we both have pretty irregular schedules, so.
Well, we both like to fish, and fish don't wait for us. So.
Well, this is probably the first time I put something in my schedule since like last March.
Well, we appreciate you doing that.
We're glad to fit into the busy schedule.
Yeah.
So, man, you have kind of the biggest question that I have for you is I've been following you since back in the days of doing stuff with Aaron. I'm going to jump right into it. Like, how did you get to where you are today? And I've had so many conversations, and to me, you're one of the most pure people on YouTube. You just have fun, and that's what we're all about, is having fun, and you can just see it, and it radiates, and people just gravitate to you for that. So tell us about that, man. I think that's the biggest thing.
Well, thank you. Yeah, like, I don't know, probably kind of starts to me getting into photography, but I was a fishing guide for a number of years in Canada. So probably for 7 years, I was guiding at various lodges, and it was always like, you know, how can I take the best fish picture? I kind of was dabbling with photography. And then as I, was doing more and more, I was in these amazing places with northern lights and wildlife and big fish and stuff. And I was like, okay, I want to get better at photography. So right around the time I graduated from high school, I got my first Canon Rebel, my DSLR. And that kind of started fueling the fire. And then I took a year off. I was a complete fish bum. I just toured around northern Manitoba and fished for a summer with my dad, with some friends and stuff. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to photography school. I don't know if I'm going to turn into a career, but I was like, well, it's a 1-year course. Maybe it's something that'll just be a hobby in the future. Maybe it's something I wanted to do more, but it wasn't like I wasn't set on being a photographer. And then this is like the most, pivotal moment that I remember is I had enrolled in photography school in Winnipeg. I had got an apartment, got all my books, everything was ready to go. And I was on one last fishing trip. This was like my last fishing trip of freedom. And I was with my buddy Kevin, and all of a sudden Aaron Weeb texted me, who I was really good friends with at the time already. And he was like, hey, can I come muskie fishing with you guys? And I'm like, sure. We got 1 day left, and then our muskie trip's done, and I'm going to school. So Aaron drove up from Winnipeg, came muskie fishing with us for the day. And then I thought it was weird for Aaron just to come and hop in the boat with us for a day. And then at the end of the day, he pulled out his laptop and he was like, I want to show you something. And he showed me the pilot episodes of Uncut Angling. It wasn't called Uncut Angling at the time, but it was, he had 2 pilot episodes. One was fishing for crappies and one was fishing for stock trout. And I was just like, wow, that's really good. He had edited himself. He had some other buddies film it. And I was like, okay, that's pretty neat. And then he's like, okay, so when does your school start again? I'm like, oh, in 3 days. He's like, okay, do you want to drop out and film a fishing show with me?
What was your first thought when he said that?
You know, like Aaron's a couple years older than me. He's probably 6 years older than me, or 4 years older than me, or somewhere in there. And I just always had looked up to him, right? And idolized him in a way. And I was like, okay, well, anything he was going to do, I wanted to be a part of. And I remember calling my parents, and I was just like, I need to do this. I'm like, this is too good of an opportunity. I knew the talent of Aaron, and I was like, I know nothing about video, but I'm like, I will learn it just to be a part of this project. And if it falls flat, I am fine with that because I took a chance. And my parents were like, no, they were so supportive. They're like, school's always there. If you want to go back to photography school, that's fine. But you know, they were supportive. So they were like, okay, well, you're not getting any more money if you want to go back to school. Like, they had some money set aside for you. They said, you know, buy camera gear, whatever you want to do, but that's it. If you go back to school, you're on your own. And then that was the start of Uncut Angling. And I mean, yeah, that's kind of what kicked it off.
That's awesome. That's so funny. When you get into the backstories of why things started, like, and how they came about, like you'd have never thought that, right? I mean, it happened within 72 hours. You're like, done. This is what I'm going to do. Put it all into. It's so crazy.
Well, and it's just like, yeah, I mean, school's so unpredictable too, because with school, I mean, like the school I was signed up for, like, I remember looking at their different courses, and one of them was like developing film, like film photography and darkroom stuff. And I'm like, I don't care about darkroom photography or like developing film. Like, I think that's cool, but that's not something I want to dedicate time to. So instead, to be actually spending time on the road filming fishing, that was exactly what I wanted to do. So I'm like, I think this is going to be, you know, a steep learning curve, but I knew that, you know, with Aaron, it would be a good time regardless. And even if it did fail, so.
Right. And it didn't fail.
No, it was.
And I mean, that's the key. I mean, you were able to take something, a passion, and turn it into something. I mean, I tried college twice, you know, before I finally got my degree. It took 2 tries. I started going to school, realized I like shooting ducks a lot more than I like going to class.
Yeah.
And, you know, that obviously was not supported by my parents. But the time back, you know, it was hugely supported by them, and you know, has allowed me to be able to follow other passions now too, which is crazy and awesome.
Absolutely.
So you know, it's wild how just those little things change.
Yeah, it's just crazy how your passion goes, and so now here we are today. You're kind of doing your own thing. You came onto the Eskimo team this year. Congratulations. Welcome to the team, what have you. No, I was really excited when the guys told me that, you were coming on board, and then Clayton with the Ion stuff. I mean, you guys are pivotal parts of what's going on in the industry right now. How does that differ from your role behind the camera to in front of the camera?
Oh man. Yeah. I mean, I guess it's the YouTube world is just very different than the corporate commercial videography world. You know, there was always kind of strict, you know, a client would be like, hey, I want a video that's 2 minutes. It needs to hit these points, la da da da, and that's what you need to do. And I enjoyed that. And I still do some of that. But like, once you're doing YouTube specifically, it's like, you can do whatever you want. You know, there's so much freedom, and there's also freedom that can get you into trouble if you're not careful too. I don't think I've gotten myself into trouble, but there's also just like a whole different world there. There's no boundaries, no constraints, and that's why I love YouTube. But yeah, it's a different deal because you put something out there. A lot of the time when you make stuff for clients, sometimes you make this video and it gets posted once or twice and it's done. It disappears into the archives. But when you post something on YouTube, it's like living there forever, and you don't know who's going to look at it, who's going to pull it up, like whatever it might be. Right.
Right. All right. So obviously you made your name. You've been to some of the coolest places to film and do stuff for clients. What's your favorite project you've ever done?
Oh, favorite project. Producing 39 Hours season 2 was pretty cool, just because that was I'd never done something of that scale, and that was beyond just it was just all the back end stuff. I loved all the moving parts to make that thing happen. And just one of the last events that we did before COVID really blew up was the finale, and we rented out a venue in Winnipeg, and we showed the final episode there. And I don't know, there's maybe 400 people, and just like actually so many times when you put a video out there, like whatever it might be, you put it on YouTube and people watch it, but you never actually get to see people's reactions, right? So to actually watch an episode of 39 Hours, the finale, and actually hear people like cheer after a fish was caught, or laugh at one of Taro's funny jokes or whatever it might be, like that gave me goosebumps, because that's the stuff I never get to experience. And probably my other favorite project, it's probably a tie, would be I did a fly fishing film for the Fly Fishing Film Tour, and I was actually thinking about coming down to Minneapolis for the finale, or not for the finale, but one of the tour stops. And that was like right when COVID peaked, and I never got to see the film on tour. And I was hoping for kind of the same experience as 39 Hours, was to actually see someone watch a video, because, with YouTube, you put your video online, you see the numbers, but you're just on to the next video. You don't actually get to see what that person watching it is experiencing, right?
Right. Well, and a lot of times, even when they go live, you're already filming the next video.
Yeah.
At least for us, we'll be out shooting something, and we'll get a call from Tyler, the guy that does our editing, and he's like, "Hey, we're ready to go live." We're like, "We haven't been able to preview it because we're out in the middle of a lake, but yeah, probably we trust you."
Hope it's good. Yeah. Hope there's no mistakes.
I mean, there's always that anticipation when you film something, you think you've got something really good, and the ones you think that are just going to hit don't, and the ones that you don't think that are going to hit do, and it's like, what? Like, I got it totally wrong. You just never know what's going to hit and what's not. Yeah.
Just when you think you have it figured out, then it just completely changed. Like, I don't know, YouTube, it's just like, oh, everybody loves walleye fishing. No one likes stock trout fishing. And then you post a stock trout video and it gets more views than any walleye video you post. And it's like, okay, well, apparently I know nothing, right? Because
I know nothing.
And that's a discussion that, I have with Clayton and with Aaron, and, I'm sure you and I could share the same stuff is, you're always trying to figure out, like, you want to make what you want to make, but you're also curious what people like to watch. And is that Jacob?
This is Jake.
Jacob's in the house.
So Jacob is probably one of your biggest fans. Like, he heard you were coming on. He's like, what? And like,
nobody.
Even to get him in front of the camera is like a feat right now.
This is good.
He's been on a couple of episodes of Fish Addictions TV, catching big fish.
That's awesome. Did you have a good winter?
What?
Did you have a good winter? What was the biggest fish you caught this winter?
Well, how big was the pike?
37.
37.
Nice.
7-inch pike. We just went
awesome.
tip up fishing on Lake of the Woods.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah. He's got a couple questions he wanted me to ask you, but I said, why don't you ask him?
I'm ready. Hit me.
What's the biggest walleye you've caught?
Biggest walleye I've caught? Just 32 3/4 inches. I forget the weight of it, but it was up at Tobin Lake in northern Saskatchewan. That was a couple years. I haven't came close to that recently, but that's like one of the big walleye meccas in Canada.
And just so you know, Thor was creeping on you. And he found out that you have how many master anglers?
Oh, what was it?
He was looking at your master angler thing, so he's going to call you out.
And well, the statistic that I found that was the craziest is you with 22 master English species caught. That's number 89 in Manitoba.
You know what's funny is I haven't entered them in a number of years, and I've just started entering them again. And it's just because Aaron started entering masters. We both didn't enter masters for like the past 5 to 10 years, and Aaron started entering them, and he was showing the ranking. So now Aaron was creeping up on my ranking, and I was like, okay, I got to start entering them again. Now we jab each other with that. But it's amazing. It's been like the Master Angler program in Manitoba has gotten so many people excited to fish for stuff that you never, like for bullheads, right? And it's like, I need to catch 5 bullheads over 12 inches or, whatever it might be.
That's awesome. What's your other question?
What's your favorite lake to fish?
Oh, favorite lake, probably Lake of the Woods. If I look out my office window the right direction, I can see like a little sliver of Lake of the Woods, and it's amazing. It's so diverse,
Do you know where our cabin is on Lake of the Woods?
Yeah.
He's like right to the top, like up there. So he's on the north side of Lake of the Woods, and then our cabin's on Flag Island, and then where you fish most of the time is down on the south end. So you got something in common. His favorite lake is Lake of the Woods.
Yeah, Lake of the Woods is so good.
Got any other questions?
No, that was it.
No? Okay.
What are you taking me fishing, Jacob?
I don't know.
I want big bluegills. We don't have big bluegills up here. If you can put me on a hot bluegill bite, that'd be great.
Oh, we'll get that done.
You got his boat tuned up now too.
Yeah, I got Jake a little 14-foot boat with a 25-horse tiller, so he's going to be rocking Devil's Lake all summer long.
Oh, that's good. The tiller life. That's great. Start him off right. Don't ever touch a steering wheel boat. Those are bad.
Hey, now. I'm going to bring the new boat home when it's done, and he's going to be like, nope, Jay said tiller only.
Yeah, exactly.
You want to stick around?
Sure.
Okay. So I know we got a few questions. We told everybody we'd give a chance to question. Is there going to be another 39 hours? I'm sure that's one of the most asked questions you've ever gotten.
Oh, there was, no, it's always the back of my mind, but like COVID just made it so tough to plan. There was talks about, maybe starting to plan, but even just the planning needs to be it's like a year and a half out. I'm trying to think how long it took us. The last one from start to finish, it was pretty close to 2 years. Clayton
next, go ahead. Clayton Chick, what? Oh.
Hi, Clayton.
When is Catch and Cook going to be in the States?
Oh, well, that's the thing. Well, you can order online, and we're going to be back in stock. For those of you who don't know what Catch and Cook is, it's a fish batter. I just happen to have some beside me here. It's a fish batter that my buddy Josh McFadden and I started selling in the last couple of months. And so we don't have any retailers in the States yet. So if you're watching and you want to be a retailer in the States, shoot me a message. But that's kind of the next step. Right now, you can order online through the website. We're going to be back in stock this week. But as far as the retail thing goes, that's kind of one of the next steps. But we're starting to hit some stores in Canada, and it's a whole different world I'm learning. So it's fun, but it's the logistics. You never want to be sold out, but it's also a good thing to be sold out. So it's
right. It's kind of funny. Josh McFadden says you should have stayed in school. Oh, let's see.
So while you look for one question that I have, since you primarily do all your own filming, correct?
Yep.
So do you prioritize the shot or the fish? Like if you hook into a big fish and you go to find, make sure your camera's recording, you see it's fogged up.
Yeah.
Are you dealing with the camera, or are you going to catch that fish and record later?
I mean, if the fish's health is number one. So if there was some situation where the fish was on the ice and dying, or not dying, but if the fish was flopping on the ice and the camera died, I would just pull my phone out of my pocket and film it or whatever I could do. Or if I just had a GoPro nearby, typically there's multiple cameras, so I can kind of have a plan B. But you never, the fish's health needs to be number one. But there are times like yesterday when I was fishing and I hooked this fish and I'm struggling with one hand to fight him. He's peeling drag and I'm moving the tripod and turning the camera down a little bit. So your mind's spinning on multiple things. But let's say the battery dies in the middle of it. I'm gonna have someone swap it, holding the fish in the water, whatever that might be, if there's a chance to do that. But
see, that's the great debate with us. We've had great camera guys, Aaron Eichhorst, Sam Moore, we got Dusty now, and it's like, guys, we're the fishermen. It's your job to get the shot. So you got to keep up with us if the go-in's good, and if it's not, you got to be patient.
That's something that's interesting too, because when I filmed with Aaron, that was one of the most impressive parts about him is he would not fish until I was 100% ready. And I've heard stories of, I don't, maybe it's you guys, whatever, but different people, and they just want to fish so hard. But Aaron would be marking fish on his graph, or he would, see a fish in the water, whatever it might be. And he's like, Jay, are you 100% ready? Because I'm not going to cast. I'm not going to drop my lure down until you are ready. Because he cared that much about getting the shot. Because if he caught the fish off camera, it that wasn't the point. The point was to get the show, right? So it was
there's definitely a fine line there trying to get that. We're out there and we're fishermen and we want to catch the fish and we're just take it for granted that these guys are ready at all times, right?
Yeah.
We definitely have those moments where we're like, all right, slow down, guys. I remember Sam, he'd come and be like, guys, slow down. Like, I know you guys want to just put as many fish on the ice for us as possible, but I can't, especially with us, because we're, you're filming by yourself and with one person. We've got usually like 3-4 guys on the ice with us. So he's running 100 feet that way, 100 feet this way. I mean, it's a dead sprint some of those days. And it's kind of fun to watch and to see the different ways people do things. And obviously fish health is first and foremost with all of us that do any of this kind of stuff. That's the first thing. But it's a lot of fun just to hear how you approach it and how, different guys that do what we do approach this.
Well, we ran into that while we were pike fishing 2 weeks ago. Dusty, our cameraman, couldn't be there. So I ended up filming.
Yeah.
And while we were setting tip ups, I was filming that. And meanwhile, Mike catches like a 41-inch pike on one of our first tip ups that we set. And I go over there to film it. And then I went and checked my SD card afterwards. The footage completely blown out, just super hot. Mike wasn't hooked up properly, so no audio. And it was like, I really hope that's not the best fish of the trip because our episode is shot then.
Oh man, that's the fear too. And I mean, me filming by myself, I'm always trying to simplify things. I think if you simplify things, it makes the editing quicker. And in the world of loading up hard drives and trying to make videos at a good pace. If I wanted to make a video a month, well, then I'd have 5-6 camera angles and take more time. But sometimes when you're trying to put out a video every week or twice a week, it's just like, okay, well, I'm going to do 2 cameras and it needs to be running the whole time. And, you just learn to make the most of it. Right. But yeah, it's tough.
It's gotta be tough filming yourself and getting everything. But this year you've kind of run into something a little bit crazy with COVID. You really haven't been able to get out and go like normal. And you've still come up with awesome ideas, great ideas to do all these different things. How has that affected what you're doing out, in the fishing realm of things? And has that given you the time to be like, when I can go, I'm going to go?
You know what? I think it taught me that even without big trips, like even when my life does slow down, if it slows down at some point, as in if I have kids, that's kind of what I'm hinting at. If and when I have kids, like, because I know that big trips might not be, something, because I used to just be on the go. Like, I don't know, when I was like 24 and single, I think I was gone like 200 days a year sort of thing. Right. And that was wild, but I just know I couldn't do that pace now. And looking forward, it's like living in Kenora. It's such an amazing hub, and I'm surrounded by thousands of lakes, and I fished so many new lakes this winter, and I slept in my same bed every night. And I was so content. And obviously I love doing the big trips, but it also shows me like I live in a pretty perfect spot to do what I like to do. So it was encouraging in that way as well. But yeah, like other than sleeping on the ice, I don't think I really slept at any accommodation since March. I'd one shoot to like Southern Ontario, like a non-fishing shoot. But other than that, it was just, lots on Lake of the Woods, lots of day trips here and there, half-day trips. And, you make the most of it. I'm looking forward to Manitoba travel restrictions easing up and being able to do some big trips there and some fly-in fishing and that sort of stuff. But, I was just very thankful that I was still able to do what I do. Because if I was a lodge owner right now, they're in a pretty tough place, having to shut doors. We're fishing guides at fly-in lodges. Like, my buddy Clayton Schick, he guides at Wollaston Lake Lodge, and they shut the doors last season and maybe going to shut the doors again this season. So it's a tough deal.
Here's a really good question. He said, I know you don't have very many of them, but when you have one of those days where you don't catch anything, how do you proceed with still making a video out of it? I know you do a lot of tutorial videos. Would it turn into something like that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always in the back of my mind trying to think, if there's something I can teach, because I don't know, I think people watch videos for straight up entertainment. They want to laugh, they want to be entertained. people want to watch a video for escapism, the pretty shots, there's some like they want to put themselves in this position, or I think people watch a video to learn. I think those are kind of the three pillars of why people watch fishing videos. And it's like, well, if I'm banking on a fish every time, then I'm just banking on the entertainment side of it. But if I can teach somebody something, then at least someone can take something home, even if the fishing isn't out of this world. Because I mean, it's not home runs every time. There's a lot of times where we have tough days, and it's like, well, I think there's still stuff to be taught, right? Even on those tougher days. So,
I mean, I think we all go out with wanting to entertain and educate, and kind of if you can get both of them to come together, those are the times that those videos click. But we found out this year, especially, we don't have a lot of time to get this stuff done. And when we're out there, we got to make the best of what we do. And education is really first and foremost.
Yeah.
The entertainment part of it is a bonus.
Well, that's how we ended up doing the float suit test.
Yeah.
We had a bad day of spearfishing.
Yeah, we had a bad day of spearfishing. So I just jumped in. I got coerced.
There was no coercion. There was a, hey Thor, I'll give you $100 to jump in the ice hole. And I said, no, the last time I did it, I got a brand new striker suit out of it. And you said, well, I'll do it. Yeah. And then you jumped in the hole. There was no coercion. Don't put that on me.
So Kevin asked, so after using both Garmin and Lowrance, which one do you give the edge to?
I think Lowrance is probably a couple firmware updates away from giving Garmin a real run for its money. Like Garmin did lose in the distance test. It was easier to see targets at a distance with Lowrance. But it's the same thing I said in the video, and it's not I'm not trying to be too vanilla with my answer, too bland, but like if you get any of that technology or the Humminbird Live or whatever it is, it's going to blow your mind. If you go from nothing like that, like a flasher, to any sort of live imaging, it's going to be insane. So I mean, I'm obviously a little more comfortable with my live scope because I had it now since August, but yeah, I think I'm curious. I want to do a head-to-head test once Humminbird Live comes out. But yeah, if you get any of those, if you have mapping that's specific to your area and you're like, Lowrance has the best maps, well then I think you should get the Lowrance Live. If Garmin has the best maps, then go Garmin.
It's just crazy what we have at our fingertips now, versus 5 years ago to what we have now. And like I've had this discussion many times. It's like, what things need to change, and they need to change now. Well, with all this technology, I don't disagree that probably limits and that kind of stuff that need to change. But what I find is most people don't take the time to learn how to use all this stuff and to really utilize it to the best of their abilities. So, I mean, it's fun to watch and fun to teach people all this new technology. Justin, we all watch you guys, but who do you guys watch when you're not fishing?
I watch Jay every day.
So
I'll be honest.
I don't watch you every day, Jay, but these two watch you every day. But no, I like, some of my favorite guys are Jay and Clayton. I think you guys are two super relatable guys. Obviously, Aaron, I think, is probably one of the masters of this game.
Yeah,
right? I mean,
he's so good.
I mean, it's just you watch and you're just like, what? Just that was okay. Yeah, that was awesome. You're like, you don't know how to take it, but it's awesome. And I think doing what we do, we can appreciate what everybody does, right? In the different ways they do, because we kind of understand it on maybe a different level.
You know how much work it is. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun.
Yes.
And it's also our biggest nemesis to watching other people's stuff too, right? It's like, we'll critique it. We'll do all that stuff. But yeah, who do you watch?
Well, I think that I think it's so important. And I try to watch, not that I don't try to watch fishing stuff, because all the people you named and you guys, I watch your stuff. But I think for me to draw inspiration, I want to watch stuff outside of the fishing realm, because none of our fishing stuff is that wildly different. But then there's non-fishing YouTubers, and I just like to see what are they doing and what could I take that they're doing and pull that into the fishing world, because I think there's some pretty creative people outside of the fishing world. Not that there aren't some in the fishing world, but I think outside of the fishing world, YouTube's just a rabbit hole you can get trapped down for hours and hours and hours. And I love watching these creative people outside of it and be like, okay, well, how can I do that in the fishing space?
Oh, absolutely. Like for the podcast specifically, I watch everything with esports, professional video games, like their podcasts and that type of stuff. And then there's another podcast out there called Creator Economics that I've gotten into recently. It's a relatively new podcast, but they manage, people like Mr. Beast and Dude Perfect. And
cool.
When they tell me what stuff works on YouTube, I'm willing to try it.
Yeah.
That comes with a lot of credibility.
Those guys are on a different scale. Yeah, absolutely. What's up, Jacob? You got a question?
What do you watch?
I watch you, and
Watches me because he has to.
Yeah, but Alex doesn't.
No, Alex does not. And people I don't know. I just watch them.
You watch flare fishing all the time.
Yeah.
Flare.
Nice.
But Jake's got me into like the snowmobile, snowcross, 4-wheeler stuff. And like you said, you take a lot of different things that other people are doing. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So one guy said, are you guys ever going to do a U.S. versus Canada battle?
We're trying.
Well, there was talks about it.
Yeah.
And now the ice is gone. We had talked about doing a cross-border battle, and I think life just caught up on both of us.
I think everything with restrictions and
yeah.
Was there going to be a road? Is there not going to be a road in general? So what, any big plans, anything like in the works that you can leak a little bit for 2021, that summer?
Oh man, there's a couple things I can't leak.
Ooh, that's always good news though.
Yeah. Potentially maybe an exciting collab, like a very exciting collab, but I that's all I can say. I know. I'm just teasing you guys.
Okay with it.
I mean, on the other side, I think just trying to focus more and more on my YouTube channel and catch and cook stuff. I think that's going to be a lot of the focus. And I think this winter, kind of my goal is just to make as many videos as possible. And I think this summer, I'm probably going to scale that back and make less, but try to do more film style, longer pieces. I like making those 45 to hour long videos. They're a huge investment because they take a week to shoot and then a week or two to edit. But I think it's something that I'm not that I'm not proud of the other videos, but I'm very proud of some of those films. And I think to push into more of that stuff. And I think there's going to be some more hunting this year. I'm going to put in for a moose tag. I got a turkey hunt coming up in a couple of weeks. So just more hunting content and then some longer form fishing content. I think that'll be kind of the plan for the summer.
Yeah, we've actually had a lot of talk about that. Like everybody's so focused on these YouTube shorter videos that we've kind of been talking about doing some of those longer things too. Like it's just kind of fun to put it all together. Like the shorter stuff, obviously you got to put it together, you got to do it, but there's so much that goes into that longer stuff. And honestly, if you can captivate somebody for 45 minutes, that's crazy, right? I mean, nowadays, because everybody wants something short, sweet.
No one's got attention. They want TikToks and reels and like 10-second videos.
Right.
Micro content.
Yeah.
So we make a lot of bets. When we hit 30,000 subscribers, Mike's going to shave my head live on this podcast. What's the craziest bet that you've made when you were fishing? Like I watched a video the other day with you and Sam versus Peric and Sobe.
Oh yeah.
They ate some Guggen drop shot baits.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what the crazy. I've never done the bet stuff too much. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I haven't really gotten to the betting thing too much. No, I don't know. I haven't. I mean, aside from just giving money to a fishing tournament, which feels like a lottery every time you do that. When you sign up, you're taking money.
Are you going to do the KWO tournament this year?
I'm thinking so. Yeah.
I mean,
That's the plan. I'm gonna do the KWO and the KBI, the big bass one, and beyond that, we'll see. I love tournaments, except I'm a very emotional person, so it's just an emotional roller coaster for me. So like, I can go on a trip to a new lake I've never been to before, and even if the fishing isn't great, it'll be like a fantastic experience. A tournament for me can be just like the highest highs and the lowest lows, and it's like, I don't know if I need to put myself through that necessarily. Yeah,
but for me, like I'm the same way, but like that's what drives me is I don't want to feel those lows. And I know it's kind of out of your, when you get in tournament day, it's not totally up to you anymore, right? The fish got to be where they are. You've done your time, you've done your homework. But for me, that's what I love about tournament fishing is the highs. The highs are super high.
Oh
and
yeah,
the lows are very low. So there's just no crazier feeling.
And just they're massive commitments. Like, oh man, if you want to do well in a tournament and you're spending 3 to 5 days pre-fishing plus 2 to 3 days in the tournament, it's a lifestyle. Those guys that do the tournaments, the elites and MLF and all that stuff, like it is such a lifestyle. And I've filmed some of that and I've seen it, and it's like, I love it. I think it's amazing, but I don't know. I don't know if I necessarily want to do that as a career. It's a huge sacrifice.
How long did you travel with Brandon Palaniuk for?
I just did 2 tournaments. I think I did one in 2017 and one in 2018. I think it was a classic in 2018, but like that was a glimpse into it. And for Kyle, who's Brandon's current cameraman, I think he's been with him for 2 or 3 years now. Like, props to him, because Brandon's on a crazy tournament schedule, but like Kyle has to be up probably half an hour earlier to get gear ready and half an hour after to dump footage and start sorting stuff. So it's like, that's some of the most grueling filming I've ever done. So huge props to him. And the fact that like Brandon cares, like in the middle of these tournaments, these $100,000 tournaments, he cares that his GoPros are running and that the angle's right on everything. And it's like, and then he still wins, which is, it just shows how good he is. Right. And I have a lot of appreciation for that, because it's more than him just focused. It's him making sure the camera's right. And he's thinking about that video too. And it's spinning in the back of his head. Right.
Yeah, it's remarkable seeing what they put together on those tournament day videos. Yeah.
But just catching the emotion of a tournament angler. You know, we at Fish Addictions, we did a whole season of the National Walleye Tour, and we had Sam come film with us, and it was crazy. Like, you know, things start coming out of your mouth when you're tournament fishing that you don't even understand. Like, there was a super emotional scene, like going into the championship, I just tanked on basically my home lake. Like you talked about the lows of the lows to the highs of the highs. And then we're going into the championship, and I just like the camera and I just started talking, and I was like, this cannot be part of the video. But then it ended up being like the best part of everything. Right. Yeah. And like, everybody's like, there's no way you did that before the championship. I'm like, it happened. It's kind of embarrassing. I shed tears, whatever. But it's a pretty cool thing. And that's why I love what we do, capturing all this stuff. Cause like you said, we're never going to get to forget it. And that's the good and the bad,
memories,
the ugly. You know, my kids, when I'm someday gone, they're going to be able to remember it and show their kids and show their kids. And that's really cool. And I think the most rewarding thing is just being able to share our experiences with people, you know, and relate. I think that's what's really cool about guys like yourself and Clayton and Aaron and, you know, all these guys that are out there, Sam Sobey, those guys were just, everybody's relatable. You know, that's our fishing buddy.
And that's important. Cool. Yeah. People want it to be relatable. And that's the thing, is like, photos on Instagram are cool, but you don't really feel the same emotion like as watching a tournament video. When you watch a tournament video and Brandon Palaniuk loses a fish, you know what that feeling is. You felt that before, and it hurts, you know. And I think video just has such a cool way of capturing it, and just the memories, like you said, to show your kids one day. It's just, I mean, that's why I started making videos. It was like I didn't know that I would be, my main job would be making YouTube videos. If you would ask me 2-3 years ago, it was just like I want to remember these things because I have an awful memory. So
depends on the day, right? They say you, Aaron, and Clayton need to make more videos. When's that going to happen?
Right now, the toughest thing is Manitoba in the middle. You know, Clayton's in Saskatchewan, I'm in Ontario, and Manitoba is the one that has really strict travel laws right now for traveling from out of province. So it's, I don't know the last time I fished in Manitoba, probably October.
Kevin says, I have to know, is Aaron as crazy about fishing as he comes off on his channel?
He's wild. Yeah.
I've gotten to spend a little bit of time with Aaron, and it was like, you just sit there, and he's one of those guys you just listen to. You don't say nothing. You just listen. You sit there, you listen. And then it's like, okay, well, that was crazy. I think I just learned more in the last 10 minutes than I have in the last 5 years, you know, because he's so precise about everything.
Yeah. And he thinks outside of the box. Like he's such an artist, and he's just, he's super creative. Like whenever I fish tournaments with him or anytime we're fishing, it's just like, if there's a community spot or a known area where it's like, yeah, we could have filmed the show there and got it done, Aaron would be at the farthest corner of the lake, driving an hour and a half to just explore this little creek, and like us getting out of the boat and pushing over the sandbar. And it's just like stuff that is not necessary at all, but that's how his mind is wired. It's just like, he will not take the easy thing. He's gonna try the craziest stuff. And that's how you hit home runs. And that's why he's so good. And that's why he doesn't maybe put out videos at the same frequency of some other people, because he's trying for these wild ideas all the time to catch a pike on a YouTube play button. Right.
Right. Yeah. That's that. I remember when that one came out, I'm like, what just happened?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. This guy, he says, besides 39 hours, what's your favorite trip you've ever done, filming or not?
Right before COVID blew up in March of last year, Sam and I went to Brazil and went on a floating lodge there and did peacock bass. And that was a trip that came up with like 2 weeks notice. And it was just amazing. Peacock bass were on my bucket list, and to be able to do some fishing, do some filming. And that's like probably the first place I want to go back to once restrictions ease up a little bit.
That's awesome. You got any more questions, buddy?
No, just saying, when we do hit 30,000 subscribers, I will be here for him to shave his hair off.
Oh, you'll be here to get his hair shaved off. Well, hopefully everybody out there will be too.
Yeah.
When's your prediction to hit 30,000?
Oh, hopefully 2 weeks.
Nice. So enjoy that hair.
Yeah.
Is the upper lip staying too?
Yeah, it's the big fish stash.
Okay, so that's gonna stay.
When we went pike fishing, I caught 3 over 40, which I had never caught one over 40, and we're tip up fishing, so it's luck of the draw, and that was the only variable. So, it's staying at least through Erie.
That's fair.
Well, we made with this 30,000 thing, like we made the commitment to we've always been on Fox Sports North for many years and did well there and everything, but we made the commitment to just drop that. We made that, and that was big for us. We're like, let's not do Fox Sports, which is a staple in our area, and focus on YouTube and focus on that stuff. And it's been a scary and fun ride at the same time, and everybody's come and it's weird because it's like, we've had a lot of support from the older generation with Fox Sports North, but in my personal opinion, we didn't really have the following of the younger kids. And I thought we always represented or were with the younger crowd. But now that we've not done Fox Sports North and people know that, like they're just supporting in a totally different way. It's kind of a cool experience for us.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think we're going to be doing it in Erie.
What's that?
I think we're going to be doing it in Erie.
Oh, maybe this week.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I haven't gotten my hair cut since COVID started. So
nice.
Fairly attached to
good.
it. Thank you.
Keep it for some bucktails or some hair jigs or something.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
It's so annoying. All he does is play with his hair, Jay. Everywhere you go. I'll be glad to shave it off.
My hats blow off in the wind sometimes because there's so much hair under them.
Do you still do the photography thing, Jay? Or are you still big into selling prints and that kind of stuff? I know for a long time that you were doing that.
You know what? I might push into a little bit more just because I have a picture of Clayton Schick beside me in my office all the time, just as a reminder. This is probably one of my favorite pictures. Yeah. Like I just have just random pictures, and it's like there's a hippo. I probably should have like a database or an archive online where people can buy them if they want. I mean, I have hard drives of photos from different trips and stuff, but since I started YouTube, it's just consumed all of my mind space and time, and it's tough to choose because I still love taking pictures, but it's just like, if I have the choice between going taking some pictures or going and making a YouTube video, I'm picking the YouTube video 9 out of 10 times because like, I don't know. It feels like now's the time to make videos. Now's the time to go hard. I don't know if, YouTube disappears tomorrow, if something changes and I can't make YouTube videos all of a sudden. I want to make the most of it now. So that's kind of why I'm trying to go all in on it.
It's a lot of fun. Like you said, we get to create the content. I think that's the biggest thing that we've found going from Fox Sports to YouTube is we can just do whatever we want. And there's no restrictions. We just go. If we want to make 3 videos out of one trip, we can do it. It's no big deal.
And engaging with the people that watch is super cool too, right? Because you have that connection then, rather than it just going on TV, and it's a little tougher to connect with those people. Right now, you can read the comments and message back and forth, and especially when you do like a premiere or something like this, when there's questions coming in, it's cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to interact with people that are supporting what we're doing, and I think obviously this is our way of giving back. We started the podcast more because it was just like, we just want 2 buddies that Thor helps out with fish addictions. We've been doing this for a long time. And it's like, this is a great way to just interact with the people that support what we're doing week in, week out. And it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah, totally.
How short is your hair going to be?
Skin.
Oh, it's a Thor.
All the way down?
Yep.
And then
can't do a buzz cut.
That's going to be good.
What I'm really sad about is it's going to be a long time until I can wear visors this summer.
Oh, I love the visor hair. Once it's long, oh man, visor season is good.
Right?
But
if I'm bald, the visor season's going to be a lot shorter.
You had your visor sitting in here, and Jake's like, Thor's going to wear that? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, those are for girls, aren't they?
No.
Yeah.
No, is that what you said, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You go ahead and talk to Taylor about that one.
I think Taylor's we have another guy on the staff. They kind of argue about who has the best hair.
Taylor does.
And
not dumb.
And he's getting it permed and a mullet.
Oh wow.
Next week bold. So that'll be interesting. Yeah, that's bold for sure. How many terabytes of photo and video do you think you have stored? That's a question from somebody out there.
If I could turn my computer without unplugging stuff, it's just towers of hard drives. How many terabytes? I mean, right now, 24, 36, 40, 52. I don't know. There's probably 60 or 70 just on my table right now beside me. And then probably another, probably close to 100 terabytes.
Wow.
Thor needs to do some hair jigs on Green Bay on the way back from Erie with that hair.
I'm not driving, but I'm down.
I agree.
Do you tie your own stuff?
I do tie some of my own.
That's right. You were a fly fisherman for a while.
I tie some of my own like big hair jigs. But I have Tim Hansky from Leisure Outdoors.
Oh.
I have him tie hair jigs for me now because he's significantly better at it than I am. But
here's a question. Now that you're with Eskimo, what's your favorite part of Eskimo? I think it meant favorite product, but
favorite product or okay. Favorite product. I just got a sample of one of the new ones. I don't know if can we leak it on here maybe? Are we gonna get you in trouble?
If I knew which one you were talking about, I would say yes or no, but I don't.
I got sent a prototype hub that's really big. It might be my new go-to camping hub.
Oh yeah. I think it's all right. Tony will get mad at us if we'd not. Let's leak it.
All right, the 850. So the 650 XD is the one that I've done a lot of my camping filming in, and now there's the 850, and it's a little bit lower of a roof, but it's double long, and it's going to be, I think, amazing for camping. So I think that's going to be good. I mean, I love the hubs have been so good for camping in, and then just having the flip over for a lot of the winter. The Escape 2800 was in the back of my truck, and it was just so good. It's a big shack to flip by yourself, like to actually load into my truck. It's quite the experience by myself, but I got it down to a system, and to actually have a flip over shack that's big enough that I can put a tripod in the far end and still film myself like that. That's pretty sweet, because the flip over by yourself is super nice and it heats up, quick, because it's not the same square footage. But
we got a lot of 850s. Ooh. So if we shouldn't have talked about that, now you all know. But I think it'll be fine. One thing I did want to touch on that I was kind of lost track of is camping has gotten huge on the ice.
Massive.
And everybody's done it, and everybody's like watched videos and been into it. Tell us your experiences, what suggestions that you've got because you forgot something on the ice. Like, what are the must-haves of camping on the ice?
Well, camping on the ice, I think, for one, it lends itself a little better to a hub style. I've seen people camp in flip overs, but hub styles are definitely better. The foam mats are pretty key. Those interlocking foam mats, those are like a must have. And then you can fish in your socks or your slippers. But then I guess the safety standpoint, there's actually there's 2 ice fishermen that passed away in Manitoba from doing an overnighter on the ice. I don't know details, and it was a super sad story, but essentially just, not, from what I gathered, there wasn't ventilation. And the problem is these thermal shacks are so good that if you don't keep the vents open, you're going to cut your oxygen off. And I think like the Mr. Heater has a shutoff, but you never want to trust your life on one shutoff in case something fails. So keeping vents open. And then as well, I bring a carbon monoxide detector and have that, near me, because, it's something you don't think about, and then you never wake up. And it's something that I hadn't really taken too seriously, but, reading the comments and now with this incident that happened in Manitoba this winter, it was tragic. So it's like trying to educate people on that, because you close all the vents, you pack all the snow around the edge, and then all of a sudden you don't have airflow. So
silent killer if you don't do it right. They're cheap carbon monoxide detectors you can run off of little like AA batteries, 9-volt batteries, that kind of stuff. Definitely have that when you're out there camping. But I mean, what's the coldest that you've camped in?
Oh,
I mean, not that this winter was very cold, but
no, this winter was amazing. Yeah, I don't know if I've camped in colder than minus 20 Celsius sort of thing. But something else on the topic of things I bring ice camping is a Garmin InReach. And I find it so funny that fishermen spend so much money. They'll drop $3,000 on a live scope and $400 on a Stratic and all this stuff, and they won't spend $350 on an InReach or something like it. And now that I have it, it's just like, why didn't I have something like this for all those years? Because there's so many times you're in marginal service, or your phone dies, or whatever it might be, and it's like, spend the money. Like, I think I pay $15 a month for the subscription, and I know that I can always contact Sam or get help with one button, and it's just like that's something that I want to keep pushing in the future too. Is like, get something, because
is that like just you push the button and hey, I need help, or is that something where you can communicate with a certain few people, or what's that?
Well, here, I got it right here. So like, the beauty of it is this is the mini one. So it floats. I've got a floating lanyard on it. So this connects to my phone, and I can send messages through my phone. So I can send like complex text messages. Like, it's easier to text. I could text on this, but there's only like 2 buttons on it. And then if you can see there's the SOS button. So if I push that button right now, there'd be like a helicopter landing on my front yard. Like, it sends the coordinates and we'll get help. So you never want to press the SOS button, but like it could very well save your life. It's so small. You always have in your backpack, and I'll send update messages to Sam if I'm out camping on the ice and I don't have service. And for flying fishing trips, it's a no-brainer.
Things are always fun until they're not.
Yeah, exactly.
It just happens that fast. So something that simple, like you said, it's crazy. We were having that discussion just the other day. How do you think technology, this is a great question. How do you think technology has changed the way you fish?
Oh, since I got live scope, it's just like, I've learned so much about fish personality and like the actual behavior of fish and how they hold to structure. And like, it is such a teaching tool. Obviously it's cool to watch, but I'm learning just how these fish interact and how every species is different. And you can just, once you stare at it enough, you can actually tell, that's a pike, that's a perch, that's a bass.
Yeah.
And so it's pretty neat, and seeing how they hold to structure, like, it's pretty cool. And I think the other side of that, I've heard people saying like, we need to reduce limits. I know you mentioned that, but I think like now it's our duty as people that make fishing videos is to educate people on proper fish handling, because some of the stuff you see online is a little bit cringy, and it's like, it's our duty to teach people. I've made all the mistakes. I'm not going to say I'm innocent of it. I've frozen fish and I've kept fish out of the water too long and all those things, but like, I'm learning. And, I think the biggest thing is just being prepared, right? And being prepared for fish.
Well, I think with this new technology, like you said, it's up to us to educate. We're not making decisions for anglers if they're doing stuff within the law, but with new technology has to come new fishing practices. We don't need to keep a limit. Let's keep what we're going to eat. Let's, those decisions, we have to help anglers educate them to what's better for our waters, you know, and all the way to handling fish, everything like that. But do you ever feel like, I know I do sometimes with the Garmin Live Scope and all this technology, that the more we know, I feel like I know less?
Like sometimes I just don't understand where fish can disappear to. It doesn't even make sense. I've learned this year, just even crappies, how they can be scared of the auger and scared of you being on top of them. That blows my mind. Or you catch one fish and like the school darts away. But there's some lakes where it's just like, are these fish that spooky that they're staying 100 feet away at all times and they can hear you? Like, I don't know. It's eerie. Like I remember we were fishing on Aaron Weed's backyard pond, and it was for my bachelor party, and we had Swiss cheese that there's like 30 people fishing on there, and no one was marking fish, and the pond is loaded with fish, and it's like, how is that possible that you can't see fish and you're on this tiny pond and there's 30 anglers fishing? Like, where do they go? Are they so deep in the weeds or so tight to the bottom that you just can't even mark them? Like, it's weird.
Yeah, it is crazy. Like, it's sometimes, some days it's like, this is the best thing ever. And the other days, like when it doesn't all go right, it's like, this is the most frustrating thing ever.
Yeah.
Like, it just goes both ways. Justin said, what was the first fish that hooked you on fishing? I know most of us caught gills and whatnot when we were real young, but river smallmouth hooked me. Every day after school from age 10 to 14 was straight down to the river.
Nice. For me, it was probably one specific pike. When I was 12 or 13 years old, I hooked this fish that I thought was a snag, and it came to the surface, and we netted it, and it was a 47-inch pike. And I've yet to catch one bigger than that. And it might have been one of my first master anglers in Manitoba too. And that just like set me on fire for fishing. It was just like such a cool memory. And that kind of really put the bug inside of me.
That's crazy. I mean, everybody always has like an experience or a person. And mine was my grandfather. Like he raised fish. We stocked fish all over Minnesota, walleyes in particular. Cool. And it was nothing that was out of game for us, whether it's catfish, walleyes, crappies, everything like that. And just, it's a lot of fun. And, and I think that's what you're trying to do. I'm trying to do is like educate, entertain, but also introduce fishing to people that maybe didn't have that opportunity when they were younger, or have the interest, but don't have the know-how.
Well, that's the thing now that I'm getting into hunting, is it is so intimidating. I think hunting's more intimidating than fishing to get into. And without someone helping you, it's scary, like to actually go and do it on your own, because you're dealing with a gun, you're dealing with a bow, you're like a big animal compared to trying to go figure out how to catch a sunfish or something, right? So it's just like, I don't know, it's trying to teach people. I heard fishing license sales are up like 30% this year. So there's a lot of people, getting into fishing and
up all over, and you can't find anything anywhere. Like you walk into the stores and it's like, okay, I needed that. I guess we got to go to the next one, which is great for the industry. Like, like obviously when COVID hit, I didn't guess. I figured that people were still going to fish and still going to hunt, but I didn't know that they were going to come out in the masses. And it's a double-edged sword, right? You go to your favorite lake and there might be 15 more boats on it or 20 more ice houses than normal, but we got to get over it, because in the end, we want this sport that we love to keep going, to keep on and to thrive. And, hey, if I look at it this way, in about 2 years, there's going to be probably a lot of cheap fishing and hunting gear for sale.
Yeah, exactly. That too. But I mean, you've seen this, like it's such a double-edged sword making fishing videos, because you're not going to make everyone happy, because it's like my goal, if I go to a lodge or, a region or whatever, and I'm trying to promote it, I want to help that outfitter out. I want to put people in those beds. And for other people, that's their honey hole that they, go and fish on their own. They're a local, whatever it might be. And they feel like you're burning their bridges or burning their spots. Sorry. And so you can't keep both sides happy. It's an interesting deal, because that's the nature of it. But with tourism, you want to bring people in, you want to help the economy. You want to bring people into those gas stations and those restaurants and all that stuff. And that's where my heart lies. Like I want to do that. But it's
you get it all the time. You're just trying to help. You're trying to do the best that you can, and like you said, be a steward of the area you're at and what you're doing. But yeah, you're never going to make everybody happy. And the moment you try to make everybody happy, you're going to lose. So you got to have, sometimes we got to have thick skin for sure.
Yeah. The key is to not take the comments too personally, because they can keep you up at night sometimes.
I listened to Joe Rogan's podcast, and on his podcast, he says, I read, don't even comment on my Instagram or any of my social media, because I read none of it. He's like, I don't even look at it, you know? And he's like, because if I did, it would drive me up a wall every single day.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I'm not that way. I read them all. So
and respond to most of
them. Jay, what was your job before you started YouTube? What is Sam's job, or is she looking after Catch and Cook?
Sam is doing, the behind the scenes. She's doing logistics, bookkeeping stuff for Catch and Cook and for Thrive Visuals and that sort of stuff. And then she's, filming with me as much as she can. She's the real star. Let's be honest. People just watch the videos for Sam. Sam is relatable because she loves to fish, but she's not going to, go fishing without me. So I think that might be for a lot of people's spouses, they'll come along, but it's not necessarily they want to do it. So it's a learning thing for me too, because I could fish 12, 13 hours, but for Sam, a perfect fishing day is 5 or 6 hours. So it's like learning how to balance that. And she wasn't crazy about being in the videos at the start. Now she likes being in videos because it's a cool memory for her as well. So I love having her along on the trips.
Is the Sam Cam apparel the most sold merch that you have?
I think the Sam Cam is funny. For those of you that don't know what the Sam Cam is, it's just like a chesty, just a YouTuber's best friend, just a chesty GoPro mount. And I don't even know, our editor Nick Entz at the time, he made a jingle for the Sam Cam, and it just it caught on, and it people just loved it. So we've definitely sold, I think, more Sam Cam merch than Jay Siemens merch. But no, it's a funny thing. And what was the other part of the question?
I was just wondering if that was your most sold merch, because as soon as I hit go live, the comments were just flooded with Sam Cam.
That's great.
Like the first 30 comments were Sam Cam, Sam Cam, Sam Cam.
Yeah, now it's coming up. We love Sam Cam. We love the Sam Cam. That's awesome. Well, Jay, I think. Go ahead. You go ahead.
No, I said we got some good Sam Cam footage at the end of this ice season. So we got a couple of videos. I know you talked about putting stuff out as quick as possible, but we got a couple of videos ready for October, November. So we got some good Sam Cam ready for next ice season.
Here's a question we get all the time, and obviously we work with the guys at Travel Manitoba and that kind of stuff. What are your opinions on the border opening? Any anticipated date or take a guess?
It's actually hilarious how often I get asked that, because I'm like, oh yeah, just call Justin Trudeau. Give me 1 minute. And it's like, I think the people at the border are going to find out the same day that we find out. I think it's going to be, that's how it's going to be. That being said, I have a few friends that are just smart tourism type people. And from two of the biggest outfitters I know, they both predicted July. And they're people that I wouldn't just think would be throwing around random dates. So I don't know where they get that from, but I heard 4th of July is going to be the day. So what's your prediction?
That being said, maybe 4th of July, but it's I think it's not going to be going to the border and getting across. There's going to be a lot of stuff going on to get over. There's going to be a lot of restrictions, which is whatever. At this point, we're all pretty numb to the restrictions that they're out there. We just kind of live life and do what we can. I know myself, I'm excited to get up there. I mean, Wekusko Falls and Athapath and all those sorts of I grew up on Reed Lake. Reed Lake, Manitoba was we went there every single year, and we camped out on the islands and fished lake trout and pike and stuff like that. And I want to bring him, he's right at that age where it's let's go, and so it'd be really cool to get up there and do that stuff. So I hope it opens. I hope it does. It's conflicting. Everybody you talk to has a different answer. So it's kind of one of those things where you're you don't hold your breath for it, but when it happens, we're going to take full advantage of it. I know it was a total different ice season for us because we usually come up there 2-3 times a year and enjoy what you guys have up there. But we had to get more creative. Like you said, you stay a little closer to home, and you understand. It forced us to do something a little different. So
and you got so many lakes around you and stuff. I mean, my heart hurts the most for the flying lodges. Like a place like Wekusko has still had a good year because they have the drive-to business, but the flying places are the places where they rely on Americans coming up, and they just it's looking like a second year of closed doors, which is very sad. But
yeah, that's just crazy. And I hope people understand that, like, these guys, they can't get anybody really up in there. I mean, like I said, most of their business is us, and somehow we support. I know I call and talk to the guys at Travel Manitoba all the time, like, anything we can do, but there's nothing anybody down here can do right now. We can't come across. We can't do that. But I hope when things open up that all these trips, these family traditions and father-son traditions and all this stuff don't get lost on the wayside. And I don't think it will. I think, like I said, license sales is up. People interested in fishing and hunting is way up. So hopefully they'll see some roll over when things go crazy. And I can't imagine that it's any different up there, right? I mean, are you guys seeing a big jump in fishing and hunting as well?
Oh yeah. The ice roads around Kenora, like they pave ice roads all over Kenora, like on the north end of Lake of the Woods, and it was just wild. In December, around Christmas time, the amount of people out ice fishing, it just blew my mind, and it made me happy because they're taking advantage of it. Like you can drive onto the lake in your car and be walleye fishing, lake trout fishing, perch, pike, whatever, right? And it's good to see people taking advantage of it. So
yeah, it's a double-edged sword. Like, we're getting people into the sport, and we've tried for years, and that was our goal, is to educate, get people into it, give them the confidence to do it. COVID kind of pushed that stuff into it. I hate talking about COVID, even though it's reality and it is what we're facing every single day. So we have to talk about it, and it's real. Yeah. But I always want to let people know that when it's over, we need to support these people that have for years and years and years. We take it for granted kind of here, right? Because here in North Dakota, we're really haven't been a lot really restricted. I own a landscaping and fencing business. We never missed a beat. We just went, and so outside of what we do with Fish Addictions, that's what I do. And but you hear the stories, and I know we have a lot of good friends up there that own flying businesses and lodges and that kind of stuff. And so, but don't forget those guys. We have it good down here, and don't, when they're open, go visit, get up there, do what you can do. So, right. Cause even the places you can drive to, like, we used to have a cabin just east of you on Clearwater, just outside of Emo, and everybody that had a cabin on our road was from the States. Like 90% of the people that had cabins, so they couldn't go to that you could drive to anyway, were Americans. So the bait shop there probably had no business this year. Yeah. It's tough.
No, absolutely.
Cool. Well, man, we're an hour in, and that's kind of where our cutoff is. So, but I really appreciate you coming on. Hopefully we can do this again sometime. And when the borders open and we can fish, maybe we'll fish together a little bit.
Absolutely. And Jacob will take us to some of his spots.
He's pretty secretive about his hot spots.
Now you can blindfold me. It's fine.
All right, man. Well, I really appreciate it. Thank you for answering all the questions. I know there's a lot of people excited about that, and
no
appreciate
problem.
You coming on.
It's good chatting.
Have a good one, man.
Thanks for being here. All right. Well, we did our first live podcast. Good. And it went well. Thank you for everybody that was here hanging out. We are
I was just like taking the headphones off. I thought we were done.
Well, I know, but I haven't closed our camera yet. So I figured I should keep talking while I figure out, because this is brand new software for us.
No, I appreciate you guys, everybody that tuned in. Jay, thank you for coming on. That was a pretty cool first guest. We love everything that guy does. I mean, he's so genuine and just, we're so relatable, and that's really what it's all about for us guys. And it just,
and he got Jacob on the podcast.
To have Jay on first.
And he got Jacob on the podcast.
And Jacob came on the podcast.
So now maybe we can get him to come in and do his own interview.
Will you come on again? Guys, the real talk is just about having a good time, talking, kind of like Fish Addictions. We just kind of go with the flow and see where it goes. And Jay's a great guy, and I've been a big fan of his. There's a lot of people always ask us, like, who do you watch? Like, somebody asked that, who do you watch? And I I like watching Jay. He's just a super genuine guy, and you can just tell that, and very relatable. So
absolutely. And for those of you who are new and may not follow Jay, head over to his YouTube channel, Jay Siemens, or follow him on Instagram. Make sure that he's getting the support that he needs to be able to continue doing what he's doing.
Guys, this is Fish Addiction's Real Talk. Hit that subscribe button if you're on YouTube. We're almost to 30,000. We will be shaving Thor's head live on the Real Talk. So
we'll be here for that.
Thanks, guys.
Be safe.